Wellity, wellity, wellity. Hello, and good time zone. And what is up, gamers? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, etc., etc., etc. Hi, friends. So it's March. It's March now. How are we feeling about that? I hope we're feeling, okay. Turnip, hello. Alquil, thank you very much for the lurk. I hope you have a lovely lurk. Hello, welcome in. I hope you are well. Chill vibes today then, says Turnip. Everyone is having a sleepy March. Yeah, my March so far is, honestly, I was feeling kind of pumped. Like, the weather is really nice. I was out yesterday and the bird song was just, like, off the chain. It was so good. I've been enjoying the fact that it's still daylight out here when I start the stream, which is a wild ride. And then I was just like, okay, what am I gonna stream today? What do I feel like streaming? And I was like, I have no inspiration for new art. I don't know what I want to do today. And that's kind of where I'm at. So I have hauled out some odds, sods, bits, bobs, this, that, and the other, as my British neighbors would say. So that's what I'm gonna get on with today. So potentially some new gubbins for stream. Namely, as you can see, this guy here, really, that it just doesn't feel like a seasonal PNG tuber anymore. Like we're coming into springtime here. The daffodils are out, the crocuses are out, the snowdrops have been. It's so we're getting into, like springtime, and I feel like this is a really wintry vibed PNG person. So I mean, obviously I've always got, sort of like pirate default, but I'm like, I want to do another one. I feel like doing another one. So I drew, hold up. So I drew this, which I feel like captures my genuinely what I look like when I'm streaming, pretty accurately. But additionally, I wanted to upgrade do some emote upgrading. And I actually ended up sketching this twice, because I don't really have, like, a cute little, like a cute little love heart about that's heckin' cute, says Turnip. Beans. Turnip says, I went out without a coat today. Official spring weather. Hell yeah, congratulations. So I drew this, because I'm like, I think that would be really cute. But then I'm like, the thing is, this looks really cute at, like, this size, but it's gonna... Emote design is a different beast to just drawing a thing. And so it's like, all right, we need to take this concept and instead of just erasing this and redrawing it on the same piece of paper, I was in a different part of the house. And I was like, I don't feel like going and getting that and, like, redrawing it, so I'm just going to take a new piece of paper. So I took a new piece of paper, and I drew this, which is, as you can see, it's thematically the same, but it's kind of, I've compressed it and enlarged certain things, and basically, like, the heart is bigger compared to, like, Terry's face or something, or at least I feel like this will read better at emote size, but I'm going to paint them both and see which one looks better as an emote, basically. Because, with emotes, you're looking at, like, a very small number of pixels in a square, so you kind of want to aim for whatever you do to kind of fit within that and look coherent within that. If things are too detailed, they could look a little bit weird. I feel like some of the things that I've done, could probably be, like, colored a bit more vibrantly to have them stand out better. I don't know, my throat's just done something real weird. So I'm just gonna take a sip of my tea. What the hell is going on? Oh, beans, one moment. Okay, I'm back. My voice is back. I'm so sorry. I also started this sketch earlier, which is based on, where the heck is my phone? Which is based on a photo that I took when I was in Copenhagen a couple of years ago. So I'm just drawing out those buildings as best as I can from eyeballing. Because I thought it was a nice little sort of scene to maybe pop some little guys going on a Copenhagen adventure, because you know I love drawing my little guys. Does anyone else like my little guys? I don't know. Sometimes I have to do things that I personally enjoy as art for my mental health. So there. So that's if we finish all of this stuff and we still have time, then we can do that. And if somehow we finish that, which we won't because that's going to take days, because I haven't even finished the sketch. I have this poor Star Trek fan art that has been waiting for me for the last like 9 years. I drew this over the Christmas break and I still haven't painted it. They're in the United Kingdom on a mild day, and he just has like 0 tolerance for cold, so he's extremely grumpy about it. Also, the sun is too bright, so he's wearing mountaineering glasses, which I really want to get myself a pair of mountaineering glasses, but you know they're like £100, and I'm poor, so that's how that's going. Turner says, "I love your little guys." Oh, thank you. That's really sweet. That's so kind. Welcome. Tea. Anyways, I think I'm going to start with Terry, and we'll see how we get on with the rest of it. Also, status update, in case anyone's curious. I did have, like, 15 minutes of remaining work to do on the last thing of birds that I painted, so I have finished them, and here's what they look like done. Here's... I think Siberian Blue had the most work to do, because I hadn't finished the line weight for them. So here's Siberian Blue with the line work done. And here's Japanese Bobbin. I think they just all they were all basically done except I hadn't painted their eyes in, and just instantaneously as soon as they've got like proper eyes, they just look done. There's South Island Robin looking very inquisitive there. I wonder what they're thinking about. And of course here's the Western Yellow Robin. Who's got no thoughts, just completely head empty, but having a really good time, I hope. Anyways, that's it. That's the thems. And here's Terry. I haven't actually decided what paints I want to use to paint these. I feel like I could probably... You know, I'm going to bring out a palette I haven't used in quite a while, because I think it would work perfectly fine for these bad boys. So, I'll be back in just a second. Where are you? Where could you be? Is this you? Is this... No? Yeah, that is. Okay. Okay. I also had a bit of a crisis earlier, because, someone bought something in my shop update, which is great. I love that. I'm very happy that someone bought something for my shop update. Oh, I also brought out my carving tools, just in case I felt like carving a print block. That's how, like, scattered I am today. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I want to do. It's just everything's happening and absolutely nothing is going to get done. But I'm going to use the Inktense paint palette set from Derwent, which I haven't used in a really, really long time. It's fine. I think the more paints that I've amassed, the less I feel, like, super positive about these paints. Like, I think they're just okay. But I think for the purposes of making an emote, they've got a good vibrancy to them, so I think that'll work to my advantage, I hope. Anyways. Oh, what's I gonna say? Okay. I don't know what happened. Something happened at some point, and I just started, like, losing space. I feel like I don't have as much space as I used to on my, like, streaming art doing area, even though it hasn't changed. It always feels a little bit cramped and compressed, but I'm going to paint both of these. And then I'm going to resize them down both as emote-sized artworks and see which one actually looks better as an emote. That's what I'm going to do. Is this a weird way to go about it? Probably, but, like, whatever. It's fine. And then, I mean, I'll probably, like, it'll be a learning experience, and I'll have 2 super cute arts of Terry. So, you know, like, yippee skippy. They're not gonna go to waste. Art doesn't go to waste. There's just more of it. It's fine. Okay. I'm sure I had a point at some point. It eludes me now. I'm gonna take a sip of my tea, and then I'm gonna take a sip of my other tea. So in case y'all missed it, oh yeah, so I had print block reminds me. So I had an order come in from my most recent shop update. I'm very, very grateful, obviously. I did recently update my shop with some cool new stuff. One of the things that the person ordered was a lino block print. And I print these to order. You know, when someone orders a print, I hand print it. Normally, you know, the print block has like textures and stuff already carved into them, but this is a blank. I haven't started yet. I could not find the print block for this one. I have like a specific designated space where my print blocks live. And it was not in my handy dandy little stack of print blocks. I suspect it's the most recent print I would have done for like a previous order. I would say in general the block prints are like the least popular items in my shop, notwithstanding like books and things that I've delisted because the art was too old and I feel embarrassed. But speaking of, if you want some mysterious old art you may have never seen before, I do have mystery packs available in my shop where you can get like just a bunch of stuff for cheap. It's all still really good art. It's usually stuff that I ordered too many prints of, or things that are a little bit older. But it's all fun. And it might be some random new stuff that I just happen to think you'd like. Anyways, point being, yeah, I have mislaid the print block. I don't know where it is. I have turned the studio upside down looking for this little square, and it is not anywhere. The good news is I did have a couple of prints that, like, I have printed. I have a couple of, like, prints of this artwork ready to go, that I had done previously. So, like, I have something to send the person that bought the print. It just means that I've had to delist it from my shop for the moment until it turns up again. I'm gonna try not to drive myself completely up the wall because, again, it's not like it's a best-selling item or anything. So I don't think I'm gonna be missing out that much if it's not available for a bit. But hopefully it'll turn up. I know it's somewhere in the house. Like, we wouldn't have binned it, obviously. It's an art supply. But it is perplexing as to where the hell it's gone. I don't know where it could be. Anyways, so apologies for that, but to the person who did purchase this, don't worry, you will be receiving a print of it. I did have a couple prints in reserve, so I don't need to, like, refund them or anything. Oh, shame. Anyways, hello Q2s, welcome in. How are you doing? It's lovely to see you, and welcome. Hello. Hi. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a good Monday. I hope everyone's having a good Monday, and I hope you had good weekends as well. I had a fairly quiet weekend. We weren't feeling super well on Saturday, so we just had like an at-home day on Saturday, and then on Sunday we went out and ran some errands, and then I just did some other stuff at home. So, you know, exciting times. But yeah, it's fine. Okay, I'm gonna mix together some greens until I feel like I have an appropriate but also standout-ish enough Terry adjacent shade. Gonna add a little bit of a darker green to the... Ooh, hello. Actually, that works really well as a combo. So I'm taking this kiwi green here, which is really vibrant, and I'm adding some of this evergreen to it, which I think actually works really well. I think that might make a really nice Terry green. But again, I feel like when I first started doing art and stuff, Q2s isn't doing well, just so you know. I sent you a reel on Instagram that I need your Canadian commentary on whenever you have time. Ooh, thank you. I haven't checked Instagram yet, like, properly today. So, Wednesday doeth, which will probably be fairly shortly after stream, I will, I will investigate and get back to you on that. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. I look forward to seeing what it's all about. But yeah. Anyways. What else is up with me? What else is up with me? I'm gonna test this color on this little doodad, see if it's, how's the intensity. Ooh, because I don't want it to be too dark, because Terry is like a mid-green. It's actually slightly greener than, it's showing up like yellowish on camera, but it is greener than that IRL. So it does feel like appropriately Terry in color. So I'm gonna, just in case it's a little off, I'm gonna start with his hand. But actually, no, I think this is a good green for Terry. This is a handsome green. Anyways, even though it looks way more yellowish, it's way more boring than you anticipate. It says Q2s. I still look forward to it. And thank you indeed. Anyways, what was I saying? I don't remember. Terry Greens, what I got up to this weekend. And oh yeah, the other thing that I did this weekend was I think the thing that I spent the most time on this weekend, notwithstanding finishing the bird painting, which I think took me about like 20 minutes. I finished the render of my next YouTube video, which is going to be going up tomorrow. So please be excited about that. I can't promise it's the most exciting topic to ever exist in the history of the universe, but I think it's a fun video. I hope y'all like it. It has taken way too long to produce considering how, like, reasonably low effort it is. Is it about tea? Tea does get a mention, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But I don't know. I seem to have a really hard time, like, dragging people to watch my YouTube videos for some reason. I don't know why. You know, that's fine. Like, no one is under any obligation to consume the works of others, but it always feels kind of like, okay, is anyone gonna want to sit? No. This is a video where I genuinely am scared that I'm going to get, like, the people with, like, you know, sort of conspiracy. I feel like it's more of a thing in America than it is here in the UK, but certain types of, like, health-related conspiracy brain rot may descend on this video. If anyone does watch it and I get, like, angry comments, it's gonna be those guys. You know. Like the time I got a guy responding to my video where I was making, like, a steamed pudding, and and he was like, I clicked off as soon as you started using seed oils because they're poison, and I'm like, okay, bro, well, you know, I'm just gonna increase the thing, because that's actually nonsense. I mean, you know, nominally everything is poison if you eat too much of it. Like, I mean, there's toxic substances in, like, every food that exists, you know. If you were to drink 500,000 cups of tea a day, you'd probably, you'd die of other stuff before you died of any toxicity from, like, the things in tea. But it's just, that is such a wild comment that's turned up. These people are out there just having absolutely no actual knowledge about, like, you know, nutrition or science whatsoever. It's a wild ride. It's not, okay, and this isn't something that I address. Okay, this is something that it is. So, as you know, it takes me a very, very long time to start to create a video from start to finish. And generally, when I create a video from start to finish, I am not thinking at all about, like, what's happening in, like, the zeitgeist around me whatsoever. I just have a topic that I'm like, I think this is neat and fun. Like, I'm going to make a sticky toffee pudding or something like that. I'm going to investigate tea bags or something. And the non-zero number of times that I've been like, all right, I'm finally almost finished this video that's weirdly taken me 6 months to produce on this, like, niche topic. And somebody else with, like, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, like, 2 days before I'm about to release my video, puts out a video on a very similar topic. And I'm like, I do not begrudge you doing that personally. and your video is very good, but your timing means that my timing is terrible now. Oh no. And this happened to me with this video. I don't think it's going to affect it, because genuinely I don't think anyone's going to watch this video. But it's just the fact that it's happened to me more than once, because I think when I did a video about, it was maybe it was the sticky toffee pudding, maybe it was spotted dick pudding, I'm not sure. But it was another case of like, oh, so someone else who's like much more well known than I am puts out a video on the same topic, like right around the same time that I've put out my video, and I'm like, oh no. And you know me, like it's a fairly unlikely topic, most likely, if it's something that I'm doing a video about. So like, what? How has this happened? It's wild. And it's not like they're poaching viewership from me from making a video about the same topic. And it's not like a super relevant topic, like we're both reviewing a movie that's just come out, because that's normal. It'll be like, oh, are you also making a video about, like, you know, like spotted dick pudding, or like a very specific niche bit of history or whatever it happens to be. It's just weird how that happens. If you got a penny for each time that happened, you'd have at least 2 pennies, says Q2's. Yeah, I know. It's like, it's weird that it's only 2 pennies, but it still feels weird that it happened twice, you know what I mean? It's a strange phenomenon. Anyways, I am working on getting the script done. I have most of the footage done for my next video already. But I need to complete, the script for it, which is taking a little bit longer. Partially because what I'm doing for my next video after the one that's going up tomorrow is a touch complicated. It's so niche that it's multiple niches at once, which is effectively I feel like the Venn diagram of people who would be interested in both sort of aspects of the video that's coming out is almost 2 completely discrete circles. So yeah, in terms of like building my YouTube channel and like gaining an audience and viewership and stuff, unfortunately I am far too ADHD interest led to concern myself with thinking about what's actually going to perform well algorithmically. Therefore, I am just 100% continuously destined to fail. I don't know. I can't be the only person who's interested both in, like, you know, 18th century dress history and also revisiting a TV show from like 30 years ago. Which is, okay, so because I think I've talked about this before. The concept for the video is effectively weaponizing the desire to create content in order to actually get something done that I just personally also wanted to do, which was to do a sewing project, which was a historical sewing project. And in order to hack my personal productivity to basically testing out a theory that I had that was like, okay, it takes you a super long time to finish sewing projects normally, because you will do them in like a flurry of like many hours a day for a couple of days and then just not look at it for a month. So if you resolve that every time, like for several days a week, you will do 45 minutes of sewing on each of these days, and I gave myself 4 or 5 days a week depending on, you know, sort of what else is going on around me. Just earmark 45 minutes a day on each of these days to work on this project. And if you do that, you get to watch an episode of Deep Space Nine while you do. You don't have to do any sewing beyond the end of the episode. You just do 45 minutes of sewing for like 4 or 5 days a week and see how long it actually takes you to complete the project. It still ended up taking me about 2 months because hand sewing takes a long time. But, you know, I got to watch 2 seasons of Deep Space Nine and I finished a shirt, an 18th century shirt. So, like, is this a dress history video? Is this, like, a Star Trek review video? It's kind of both. that part of the reason the script is taking me so long is that I keep writing like in-depth reviews of each episode, which I'm not going to be able to include in full in the video because it would be hours and hours and hours long, and I don't think it's not going to hold anyone's interest if I do that. So I'm gonna end up having to compress the reviews back down into a short, pithy, spoiler-free review, whilst I also talk about what I'm sewing on each day of the project, and then I have a whole bunch of full-length Deep Space Nine episode reviews that I'm going to upload separately. I don't know if they're going to be on my Patreon or on a different channel, or my own channel is just going to become even muckier of a mess of who knows what its niche is. The niche doesn't exist. I don't know. But yeah, so that's the thing that's going to happen. DS9 cool, says Alquill. Hell yeah. I am an enjoyer of that. And it genuinely helped me sew. And so my plan is, in the next couple of weeks, I have a new sewing project that I want to start, which is an 18th century wrapping gown, and I will be watching season 3 of Deep Space Nine while sewing it. Because this productivity hack worked really well. Alco says, do MASH next. That's 50 years old. Ooh. Yeah, I would love to do a MASH watch. I also really feel like watching Columbo. I've got the itch to watch Columbo. But Columbo's a weird one because like Columbo technically ran from like, I think, was it the late 60s, early 70s, all the way into like the year 2000, and as the decades go on, it the quality kind of wavers. Depending. So I don't know how the Columbo binge is going to go. Also, I haven't found anywhere in the UK where I can just watch Columbo, so yay. Anyways, the episodes are very long, says Alquil. Oh geez, I don't know if that would work for me as a sewing hack. I might just have to watch them. Just cause, also, my dexterity is such that part of the reason that I can't art stream for like 5 hours at a time is that my hands start to protest and my back starts to protest if I'm here doing this stuff for more than like 2.5 to 3 hours. And even then sometimes it protests. And part of the reason that I can art stream for 2.5 to 3 hours is the amount of time that I spend just wildly gesticulating with my hands, talking to y'all and not actually doing any art. Anyways. Whoops. Oh, that was a weird flavored sip. Okay. This sweetener that I got for the purposes of sweetening my tea, it has this flavor that I can't quite put my finger on. Maybe it's a slightly metallic taste. I think it might be a slightly metallic taste. But there's something about it that just makes it taste. It doesn't taste like a standard artificial sweetener to me, which I find tolerable in very specific circumstances, namely Lucozade Sport Orange or Lemon Lime, and this one specific type of yogurt, which is specifically Lindahl's Raspberry Yogurt, which has sweeteners in it, but I can't really tell, and I think it's fine. But this, what is that? It has this, I cannot put my finger up what flavor this is that is weird about it. But it's present. What are you? It's gonna bother me until I figure out what it is like the association of this. Anyways, I feel like this is a decently vibrant green. It looks, at least on my monitor, like quite a bit less green than it does in real life, which is, I don't know why the camera does this. It's not always 100% representing colors. I feel like it represents my skin tone quite well. Like that is roughly the sort of tone and undertones of my skin, sort of a peachy pink. You can see I have very little melanin. There's my veins, nice and blue. I feel like it's doing a pretty good job of representing that reasonably well. My beautiful aging hands, yuck. Don't look too hard at them. I'm self-conscious. But then it will misrepresent this green and make it look less vibrant than it actually is IRL, which I don't know how to correct for this. There are other colors in sort of the realm that it sometimes has trouble with, and yet looking at this color sheet as a whole, I feel like it's reasonably representative, except this bad boy, which is too yellow. This is less yellow, more green in real life. And I did use this and this but this one looks absolutely perfect. But this, too yellow. Something about the greenishness of this one in particular it is not happy with. Also, oh, this looks way bluer, because this looks very similar to that. But this is greener. So something about the green happening here. It's blue. It's turning this one towards blue, and it's turning this one towards yellow. Also, the cutting mat that I paint on, greener in real life. It's bluer on camera. I haven't the foggiest, chat. I am baffled by all this. Oh no! Oh no! My paint water is so green now, and I was about to paint something like reddish pink. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. I kind of feel like this is like my paint water looks greener than the paint that it came from. I'm actually gonna dump out this paint water and get some fresh paint water, because I need to paint the heart next, and I don't want the heart to look muddy and brownish. I want it to be a nice, vibrant, pinkish, reddish pink. So I'll be back in just a second. Sorry. Okie dokie. Oh, I haven't used these paints in a really long time, and I've forgotten just how potent they are. They're very, I mean, they are called ink tents. It's right there in the name, but they are definitely rather potent. So, this is already a fairly cool toned red. This, what's it called? What's the name of it? Poppy red. It's already a reasonably cool toned red, which works for me. Again, okay, well, it looks orangish on camera, but I promise it's a cool toned red. But what I might do is just hoover up a little touch of what I think is the ultramarine and add that to it to cool it just a little bit more. Being mindful that the ultramarine is a warmer toned blue than the bright blue, which is a bit more of a cool toned blue, in order to achieve a red that isn't muddy. Let me just find a blank space. Ah, yeah, it's pretty. Okay, cool. Let's paint our little hearts and see how it looketh. Anyways, I think I mentioned it earlier, but I will reiterate. I hope everyone had a good weekend, and I hope everyone's having a good week so far, whatever you are up to. I realized I've been talking about my, I've been talking about posting a new video to, I did put a link to the YouTube in the chat. There's a link to the YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, there will be a link in the description to go to my main channel. Please subscribe to my main channel. I promise the videos are interesting. I have like no budget. And my editing software is fairly rudimentary, but I put a lot of work and love into them, and I think you might find them fun. I hope you find them fun. I find making them fun, but also a lot of work that is hard to do and takes a lot of time. So I haven't been able to do them as frequently as I would like. Also, on a couple of occasions now, I've found myself where, like, I just am sick for a few months and have to put video doing on the back burner because I'm sick for a few months. And it's like the least urgent thing. Which I wish wasn't the case, but such is life, apparently. Trying not to dwell on it. Anyways. What else did I do this weekend? I have contemplated doing some baking, but I haven't done any baking. But I have some pumpkin in the freezer from last autumn that I really need to use up to make muffins. I have a very ancient pumpkin muffin recipe that is absolutely delicious. Okay, that's a little bit blotchy, so I think I'm gonna let that hang and dry and paint this one in the meantime.
Attention! Twitch user Sammy Kelch. Shoppers.
You should do that. Anyways, apparently my alert was muted for me, but hopefully y'all heard it. Hello, Jam. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the raid. What the heck? Hello, everybody. Welcome. Michael, welcome in. Story Paint, hello, Rex, and Spudders, and Samuel, and Jam, hello, friends, and welcome in. Thank you so much for the raid, Jam. Let me get a shout out for the lovely James B. Barrow. Lovely to see you. Welcome in. Thank you for the raid. For anyone who's just come in, hello. We're working on some, I'm testing out some emote theories by painting the same thing in slightly different proportions to see which one reads better at like 20 pixels or however much it is. So that's what we're up to right now. But anyways, welcome in, friends. In case you're curious what my art looks like when it's not, very partially done, here's some birds I painted the other week. Some birds I painted last week. Anyways, hi. For anybody who's new here, hello, my name is Twitch user Sammy Kelch. I'm a variety streamer. I do cozy art streams on Mondays and most Thursdays. I do cozy game streams on Friday mornings, and every once in a while on a Thursday if I'm feeling extra spicy. I'm not feeling particularly spicy at all today. If I was a spice, I would be probably not quite salt, but maybe like cinnamon, but in like the just warm and cozy kind of soft cinnamon sense. Like porridge with a very light sprinkle of cinnamon on top of it. That's the spicy I'm feeling today. But how was your stream, Jam? How did everything go? I hope it went well. Jam is lurking, never mind. I'm gonna have to raid and fade as I'm feeling a bit under the weather. Hope your art goes wonderfully. Thank you so much again, Jam. I very much appreciate it. Please go rest and recover and feel better soon, my friend. It's lovely to see you as always. Let me get another shout out for Jam in the chat. If you're not familiar with the lovely James B. Barrow, and I suspect most of you probably are, you should really go give him a follow. He's a lovely, lovely human being. Always very thought-provoking and interesting conversations happen in that stream as well. So it's a nice place to hang out. And Jam does really, really beautiful art. So there. But yeah, anyways, in case you're curious what my art looks like when it's done, I can show you some art that I did do, fairly recently. Gaijin, hello, welcome in. Hello, it's lovely to see you as well. Welcome. How are you? How is your Monday going? I hope you're doing well. Kirsty, hello. Kirsty got left behind. Oh no, how rude. How rude. I'm so sorry, but I'm glad you're here. Hello. I really hope that, okay, this might not work. This might take a second. Oh no, it's not working. Okay, beans. Blip. Okay. This is what my art looks like when it's done, in case anyone's curious. I am primarily a watercolor artist, but I do other wet media, but pretty much entirely traditional, which is why we are watercolor painting some emote designs today, as you do. This is Terry, the titular Terry of Terry the Forg Mage and his adventures, who we are painting today as well. But here's our little pistachio-headed froggy fellow off on a little adventure. And yeah, that kind of thing. Oh yeah, also I'm back in the Star Trek special interest, so I've been also doing a lot of Star Trek fan art. Also, I just updated my shop, if that floats your boat, including like Hollow Knight and Silksong stuff. I've got some extremely limited edition prints. Half of them have sold out already, so that's a thing. Also, Jam just raided. If you're not familiar with Jam, here's some beautiful Jam art. It's doing Rain World Art Month this month, and oh my goodness, this is so stinking pretty. I know nothing about Rain World, but I love seeing the Rain World art from Rain World Art Month, and this is absolutely gorgeous. Anyways, but yeah. If you ain't familiar with Jam's art, go check him out. Go give him a follow. And as for y'all, how are you doing? How's your Monday going? How was your weekend? It's lovely to see y'all and welcome on in. Again, I want to update some of my emotes. I've wanted to update some of my emotes for a while now. And annoyingly, again, I mentioned this earlier, but the green of Terry here is actually much more vibrant of a green in real, well, a shade more vibrant. But what you're seeing is definitely browner than it is IRL, and this is also a more cool toned red than it looks on screen. Just because, I don't know, my camera likes to F with me in weird, unpredictable ways. I don't know what color, what hex code it is exactly that it just can't seem to process correctly, but that always seems to be the case. There's always like one or two colors that it's just like, meh, I'm just gonna be broken about, so, like, whatever, it's fine. One of these might become an emote if it ends up looking good enough at, like, what is it, 20? Is it 28 pixels? It's something like 28 pixels. It's absolutely teensy-weensy, in any case, that you want your emotes to be. And I think my art style of, like, 4 or 5 years ago when I started streaming, because I've been streaming for just over 5 years. I had my 5-year anniversary at the end of January. My art style was similarly whimsical, but my use of color was definitely more muted, and by more muted I mean generally I just didn't use a lot of very dark colors. I wasn't layering my watercolors as much as I do now. And as a consequence, I feel like some of my older emotes are a little bit, could stand to pop out a little bit more, you know what I mean? So I want to do one that's got a nice amount of vibrancy to it, or aim for a nice amount of vibrancy here. I also have, for my lines, a thick pen, or at least what is, by my standards, a thick pen. Considering, now some people may consider that 0.8 is not a thick fine liner pen, but bear in mind my standard fine liner pen choice is 0.05. So 0.8 is a pretty, there's a pretty substantive difference between the two. If I can get it to come into focus, that would be super cool. Can I? Not particularly, but you can see the difference, I hope. So, I hope to get some nice, strong lines on this, which hopefully will help it to stand out nicely in extremely tiny form. But I'm not really going to be able to test that out on stream, I don't think, because I'll have to, like, scan it in and do all of the resizing and stuff, which I can't really do on screen because all I got is this camera. And I don't know if y'all want to see me futzing in my, like, weird old Photoshop. And when I say weird old Photoshop, I mean ancient Photoshop. The only reason I still have Photoshop and use Photoshop is that my Photoshop is so old that it's not, like, connected to the internet, and therefore I don't have to pay a license for it. But if I ever switch computers, I'm gonna have to find where the disk is to reinstall it. No. So I guess I'm stuck with this computer forever. Oh well, such hardship. It's fine. Okay, I think I want to give this one a second pass on the red, because I feel like it could be a little bit bolder. So I'm gonna set this to one side so I don't make a mess of it, and I'm gonna take a sip of my tea. That sounds like a superior Photoshop, says Rex. It really is. in the sense that, you know, I'm not being gouged by Adobe, who are frankly in my bad books for about a gazillion reasons. They're kind of, what shall I say, diabolical, I feel like is a good word for it. But no, if I ever had to stop using this like old Photoshop, which the annoying thing about this version of Photoshop is that there are just functionalities that it does not have because it's too old, and things that, for instance, there are certain things that I can't do in terms of like having merch printed and that kind of thing. And like making stuff using it like for print. Like I struggled hard getting the pages formatted when I printed my two terrible old books. Using this, it was like pulling teeth trying to get it to actually function correctly. Like just a nightmare. Because there were just certain things, like, and looking up tutorials and, oh, here's how you do this thing, and then I try and do it in Photoshop, and it's like, yeah, no, that setting has changed names, and this version doesn't do that yet, kind of thing. Additionally, there was a print that I wanted to have like metallic overlay, like metallic ink printed on certain sections of it. Couldn't do it because I couldn't set up the layer correctly for that for the printers that I was going to get to do it. And that was a very frustrating back and forth because I was like, my software won't do it. Is there anything? They're like, no, you have to do it this way. And I'm like, oh, I understand that that's how you're set up, but I can't do it. But I already paid for it. So they ended up just giving me like the vanilla print, but I'd already paid for like the shiny, and I didn't get the shiny, and I was like, I probably should have asked for a refund on the shiny then, but I didn't want to get into a fight because I want these people to like me, you know? Anyways, Lux, hello, welcome in. Lux says, I finally hung up the Lucia and Jean artwork, yay! Instead of keep on the wall, instead of keeping it on desk. Oh, I hope those two little fellas are doing all right, and I hope you are too. It's lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome. I'm gonna take a sip of my weird metallic-ish tea. Yeah, literally, there is a weird flavor. Oh, Jesus! I'll be back in a second. Oh, that scared the hell out of me. Oh my goodness. Okay, I've been bracing myself, y'all, I had been bracing myself all day for this delivery to arrive, and then as soon as I started streaming, I completely forgot that it was, like, imminent. So that was, like, a legit jump scare. I'm so sorry. Anyways, I am unboxing this on stream, but it's an extremely boring, purchase, in as much as it's literally just one of these. It's just some additional external storage because I keep running out of storage. So I decided, what the hey. It was reasonably inexpensive from Argos, so I just nabbed one. Ho hum. Anyways, I'm back. And extremely out of breath because I had to run to the front door. Hello. Anyways. Also, does anyone else have this thing where when you're, like, startled by a loud noise, the loud noise just kind of repeats in your head over and over and over again? Because that's happening to me right now. Like, my brain is just experiencing an echo of my terrible doorbell, and I'm sorry you had to hear my terrible doorbell. I'm so sorry if you had to hear my terrible doorbell, which I didn't choose this doorbell. It came with the house, and I absolutely abhor it. I think it is so annoying. But also now it is just, like, rattling around in my brain. Blah, 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 blah. Like, why does this doorbell exist? It's horrible. Why can't I just have a nice doorbell that's like a pleasant little chime and, I don't know, a little voice singing in dulcet tones? There's someone at the door. There's someone at the door. That would be nicer. That would be less, you know, jump scare inducing. That'd be fine. Anyways, Moriax, thank you for the 20 stream steak. Oh my goodness gracious, coming out of Lurk to say I had you Saul's video and thought you might have exploded. I feel like I've exploded. Like, I genuinely, I'm having chest pains. I'm glad that my delivery arrived. Thank you, Argos delivery person. But, like, oh my goodness. That was deeply unpleasant, and I am genuinely having chest pains now. No. Oh, pretzels. Okay. I'm also, I think I don't want to put any, I think I want this just to be flat colors rather than shaded, because I think if I shade this in, it's going to, potentially just kind of muddy things when it's at, like, emote scale. So I think I want to just leave it at that rather than shading things in. Anyways, also thank you for the lurk, Moriax. I appreciate it. And for the 20 stream steak. My goodness gracious. That's so many steaks. I hope you enjoy your many, many steaks. I hope they're delicious. I'm gonna clean down my brush. Now I do have the arduous task of deciding what color I want Terry's cloak to be. I could have it be 2 different colors in each. I could have this one be like sort of a nice purple, and I could have this one be a nice like blue or something. Like I could do that. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. I can do whatever I feel like. Anyways. Well, I'm glad my item arrived safely. I'll test it out later on off stream to make sure that it's actually working correctly. But yeah, basically my machine keeps running out of storage, so I was like, I should probably get some more storage. So it stops doing that. Sarah, hello. It's lovely to see you. Welcome in. Thank you for, I was not looking at the computer. That's very, very fair. Hello, and thank you for looking, and thank you for saying hi, Sarah. It's so nice to see you, my friend. Hello. Also, apologies, everyone. An ad break is starting in a minute. So please feel free to not look at the computer during that. There's no material benefit to me, really, to you experiencing ads, but unfortunately I am not allowed to not have them at all, so I try and make them as unobtrusive as possible by taking breaks when there's an ad. So I'll be taking a little break, whilst you are seeing, I don't know, whatever kind of deplorable nonsense since they try to sell to you this time. It's a good opportunity to have a sip of something, take a stretch, you know, open a new tab and look up something that's been bothering you if you don't, you know, like learn about it right now. I have so many of those. Oh, okay, so 9 minutes ago I had a text message from Argos saying Valeria, which is the name of my driver apparently, was about 2 minutes away with your order. Okay, anyways, ad is starting. So, I shall see you on the flip side, y'all. Enjoy the BRB screen in the meantime, and a BRB! Hello, friends, I'm back. Hi. Thank you for sticking around if you have, I appreciate it. I hope the ads were not too crappy, and it's good to be back. Hello. Anyways, Joe's lurking. Thank you for the lurk, Joe. They say I am here, but also roasting a chicken. My flat smells amazing. Oh, I bet. Very cozy. Gotta love the smell of a roast dinner. I don't even eat chicken, but the smell of a roast dinner is a very cozy olfactory memory. Anyways, whilst I was on break, I remembered. Now, I really need to, I'm so bad at writing this stuff down. You know when you have, like, an idea for an artwork, but, like, you don't have time to do it when you're thinking of doing it? Like, when you have the idea? I had this idea for an artwork. It's so stupid, and it's so self-indulgent, and it's not really something that I would do on stream, because I try to keep my, like, niche fan art to a minimum, and this is several directions of niche, in as much as... So, okay. I'm sorry to talk about Star Trek again, but here's the thing. On Deep Space Nine, there was a character named Damar, and he he goes through a period of time where he's drinking a lot of his alien people's, like, alcoholic beverage of choice, but obviously he's not, the actor, whose name is Casey, is not drinking real alcohol on set. They have, like, you know, he's drinking, basically it's just corn syrup. He's drinking corn syrup because this alcoholic beverage is supposed to be quite, like, viscous, so they just used corn syrup to stand in for it. But instead of just doing that, like, fake, like, I hold the cup up to my lips, but, like, I'm clearly not letting any actual, like, liquid get in, he's genuinely necking that corn syrup. When you see him do, like, a shooter of this stuff, he is knocking it back. Which means that this man was so much sugar coursing through his veins at any given moment during this period of filming that eventually the producers were like, we're worried about Casey. So they swapped it out for, like, a sugar-free syrup so that he wasn't just constantly extremely wired. And my first thought when I heard this, because the character that he plays is a Cardassian, and while it's not stated explicitly, because, you know, there isn't necessarily a direct Earth creature correlation to what, like, the alien humanoids are in science fiction, people headcanon these characters as being kind of, like, their people as being kind of lizard adjacent, because they like to relax by, like, sunning themselves on hot rocks, and, you know, they really don't like cold temperatures, that kind of thing. So people headcanon them as being kind of lizard adjacent people. And so I just thought that one scene from The Simpsons where Lisa Simpson has, like, consumed some of the water from one of those, like, little, like, boat rides that you go on in, like, a theme park they're at. And they find her later, and she's, like, white as a ghost and wild-eyed and wearing she's got, like, a towel draped over, like, a poncho, and she just declares, I am the Lizard Queen! And I really wanted to really want to paint a Damar just doing that. I think it'd be very funny. I think my moderator / spouse is home, so I'm gonna go say hi to him, and then I'll finish painting Terry's. Hi. Okay. Hi, babe. Hi. This is the heavy bag. What did you... Oh, you got lots of stuff. Sweet. Orange juice! And eggies?
Orange juice, eggs.
Yay!
Tomatoes.
Oh.
For me.
Okay, I love you so much. You okay?
So work.
Yeah.
I've finished everything I need to do with Marvel.
Good.
So I'm back on 8 till 4 tomorrow as opposed to
Okay.
9 to 5 again.
Okie dokie. Nice.
So I'm making it for Wednesday lessons at 8.
Yeah. Alright, cool. I love you. Yay, hello. My moderator / spouse is home and he picked up groceries. Yay! Oh no! Alquill says, I know some artificial sweeteners work as laxatives when you consume too much. That's true. I bought these protein bars as, like, an easy, they have no ingredients that I can't consume, snack for days when I'm out of the house all day, right? And I did note that because they contain sweetener, they do say, please note excessive consumption can have a laxative effect. You're very right, Owlquill. If you've ever seen, this is, like, notorious, but there's, I can't remember if it was Haribo or another brand, but there was some brand of sugar-free gummy bears, that the reviews on Amazon were absolutely wild. Because people were just like, please, you know, like, only buy these sugar-free gummy bears if you're having trouble going to the toilet. Because let me tell you, apparently whatever sweetener and in whatever amount was in these sugar-free gummy bears was just, how shall I, liberating consumers number twos. I hope that actor was okay, says Alquill. I can confirm that actor Casey Biggs is fine. He's fine. I'm sure I don't know what he's up to these days, but the last I heard, he seems to be thriving, so I'm sure he got over it. This was back in the 90s. But yeah, he was fine. It was just an entertaining time. The other behind the scenes story of a person having a difficult time or things going a little bit weird from that show, because there's another one. There's probably more that I'm not aware of, but there's a period where let me find a picture of him because I do have one. Because I made fan art. So the actor who plays this guy is a fellow named Alexander Siddig. Anyways, there was a period where his fellow cast and crew were concerned because Siddig was showing up to set, like at the last minute and just seemed really tired, and they were like, oh geez, or like they were approaching him very gingerly, like, hey, if there's anything you need to talk to, if you need to talk to somebody, like, I'm here for you, is everything okay, all that kind of thing. And he was genuinely like, what's going on? Because they thought he'd gotten into like doing drugs or something, and no, he was just playing some like online MMORPG until like 3 a.m. Because he wasn't doing drugs. He's just a massive nerd. I forget which game it was, but it was one of those like it wasn't World of Warcraft. I don't think World of Warcraft was a thing yet, but it was that kind of thing. Al says Star Trek is for nerds, in brackets, affectionate. It's true, and sometimes that does include the cast and crew. I love it. It makes me happy. Obviously not the fact that he was like sleep depriving himself because he was up playing whatever the even nerdier than World of Warcraft game he was playing was, but RuneScape, says my moderator slash says maybe it was RuneScape. I don't know. Anyways, heck. Okay, I need to decide what colors I'm doing for Terry's cloak, and I do want them to be reasonably nice, sort of vibrant couleurs. Did I tell you I never did find that print block, babe?
Yeah, you said.
It's got to be somewhere, but the good news is that I do actually have like a couple. I have a couple knock over everything in the studio. It's okay. I got it. I've knocked everything over, Chad. It's fine. Anyways, it's not gonna stay now, I don't think, because it's unhappy with. Oh, I see why. Okay. Anyways, okay. Anyways, I did have some existing prints of it, so like it's fine. So I'll just send them one of them.
What's this?
I got myself a treat. Because I keep running out of space, so I bought myself some space. Yay. And it was reasonably inexpensive.
Well, because it's a spinny disc, so yeah.
Oh, is it bad?
No, but if you just back the up stuff, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, well that's what it's for. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. Anyways, hello chat. Sorry. Everything fell down. I do tend to maintain some nice little precariously teetering piles of paints and what have you next to my desk while I'm working. It keeps things nice and spicy, I think. If everything can fall over at any given moment. It's just more fun that way. And absolutely not because I have zero organizational skill and also like nowhere to put most of my stuff. Definitely nothing to do with that. Anyways. Woof. Okay. So where did I put my paintbrush? Paintbrush is here. Paintbrush is here. Now I'm worried I bought the wrong. Thing. But hopefully it's fine. Hopefully is it fine, babe? My doodad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, he says it's fine. The fun stops when a stack topples, says Alquill. I get that mostly with paper and similarly flat things. Yeah, I mean, most of this was paper and similarly flat things, so... Speaking of...
Oh, babe.
Because... Yes, darling?
I don't know where it went, but that golden present Lego bit is Moon Knight.
Ah, it's Moon Knight! Okay. I found a random Lego piece on the floor the other day, and I had no idea what it was from, and it turns out it's from Moon Knight. I have no idea how it got into the room that it was in, because there was no other Lego in that room. There was just a random little gold crescent from Moon Knight. Who's knows? Anyways, have I mentioned recently that I updated my shop? Because I did, and I'm trying to get better about promoting it. So this is the promotional segment of stream. This stream has been brought to you by me! I have a shop where you can get stuff, including, but not limited to, the following. There's a link in the chat. This painting, this is all the new stuff, by the way. This painting of Terry, which just focus on Terry's beautiful face. Focus on Terry's beautiful face. Thank you. This beautiful painting of Terry's beautiful face, off on a little adventure. Star Trek fan art, because I cannot control myself. A little teacup guy that's a sticker. And the teacup guy's boyfriend. That's Sports Direct. A nice evening after dinner coffee. And delicious, very cottage core afternoon tea. Speaking of cottages, here's another one with some gay little ladies and a bit of Canadian landscape. And also some Silk Song, because why not? This is a song. This happens in the game. It's canon. And I love that that's true. But also Splish Splosh, the little void fountain. And also Lostkins, Fanta Fixation. I think you've had enough. You're gonna give yourself a tummy ache. But they never listen to me. And also the Mantis Lords having a delicious blue milk latte with their very good little friend, the little guy. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. There's more in the shop. This is just what's new for the season. I hope you like it. I'm sorry I'm so bad at self-promoing. But maybe it's good that I'm bad at self-promoing, because, you know, I don't think anyone likes promo, but here we are. Anyways. Yeah. I am picking up some blue. Hornet needs knitting needles. Oh my god, that'd be so cute. I have done, when Silk Song was first announced and we saw like the very first trailer, I did do an artwork. I think it's still available in my shop, but don't quote me on that. But I'm just gonna quickly page down my, actually I can probably find it more quickly in my shop rather than looking at, rather than my Instagram page. So I'll just go to the Hollow Knight art tab. This is, we're out of the self-promo period, but I will show you this, which is a print, but just because I want you to see the artwork that it is. In fact, what I might do, can I open the image into a new tab and make it bigger? Yeah, okay, I can open the image in a new tab and make it bigger. So, when Silk Song was first announced, I did paint this, which, my first thought was a hornet mending her poncho with her needle. And as you can see, I've given her a biscuit tin, which of course contains sewing supplies, because obviously, I don't know where in the game this backdrop is. It might be an area of the game I haven't visited yet. But I tried to, I think I did try and base it off of something that I saw in the trailer, so who knows. If it is part of the game, don't tell me, because I might not have visited that bit of the game yet. It might be a spoiler. I don't know. But But yeah, I liked the idea of her having to just fix her poncho with her sewing needle, because I mean, it's a needle. Why wouldn't you? That's a terrible size of needle to do that kind of fine like repair work with. I prefer like the really tiny little Sharpies, because I find for the very small stitches that I like to do, like the little back stitches, it's a lot easier. But anyways. Alpos says, I remember a news article about a woman knitting herself a lace fence for her garden on modified curtain rods. What? That sounds incredibly difficult. I cannot imagine that scale. That is a wild ride. But anyways, yeah, that's an artwork that I did one time. So I hope you like it. I guess. Anyways, I'm going to pick up some. I'm going to add some purple to this blue and try and make a nice kind of grape looking hue out of it. And one of these guys is going to get a nice sort of, actually this is more aubergine than grape, I think, but it's in the vicinity. I'm trying not to concern myself too much with like absolute precision here, because like my line work is just going to be thick pen anyways. So like it's fine. And we're just gonna bring this down, even though if I'm making this into a mode, I'm gonna kind of crop inwards a little bit. And again, I don't know which one of these is gonna end up being an emote. If either of them do, I don't know how they'll look when they're that small. I just don't know. Her name is Anne Yoonson, if anyone wants to look her up. I am genuinely quite fascinated by this. Was it just like a random person, or were they like an artist? Regardless, that's very cool. But yes. Anyways, because I know everyone is always really interested in the answer to this question. I'm having tomato soup for dinner tonight. I've realized belatedly that I have some of these like wholemeal ciabatta rolls, gluten-free, obviously. I feel like that goes without saying, because it's me and my tum-tum. But yeah. I, Shetland knitwear designer and tutor specializing in Shetland lace. Oh, that's really cool! I wish I was better. Like, I like knitting, but I'm not good at dedicating myself to knitting for long periods of time. I'll do, like, 3 rows for like 2 or 3 days in a row, and then I'll put it down for like 2 weeks, so it takes me like a year to make a single thing in knitting. Unfortunately, I regularly, or at least semi-regularly, am enticed to like look at knitting wools, and I'm like, oh, that's such a pretty wool, I could make something with that, I want to buy a ball of that wool. It's like, no, don't buy the wool. Don't buy the wool if you don't have a project in mind, because that's just a waste of wool. It's just going to sit there and not get made into anything. Why would you do this? So I'm trying to curb my desire to purchase knitting wool. Oh, come on. Thank you. The light, my camera was doing the thing where it just wants to blow out any, like, white on screen. Which it does from time to time, which is really annoying. Anyways. Alcohol says, I'll work on something for a few weeks and then leave it for a year or longer. Yep. Yeah, that's a mood. I have some unfinished projects that have just been languishing for like years at this point, I think, and I feel really bad about it. Like, I really do. Like, I should do something about that, and I just don't, and it's bad. Oh, well. So it goes. I mean, that's fine. It's okay to have projects that, you know, you don't, like, personal projects are not necessarily on a set timeline. It's okay to have things that you just kind of let sit around for a while and then come back to, you know what I mean? Like, that's okay. But sometimes I do actually want to get a thing done, which is why I discovered or attempted this productivity hack for finishing my my last shirt project, which I did film, so will be on my channel at some point. And oh yeah, for anyone who missed it, I am posting a new YouTube video tomorrow on my main channel, so I will pop another link to the chat there. If you are not subscribed and you want to be, you can. You don't have to. I don't know if the video is even that interesting, but well, it's taken me like 8 months to get it out there, so I hope somebody watches it at least. I hope somebody besides, like, the inevitable, angry people with wrong opinions who will definitely watch it get mad and put mad comments in my comment section, which I just delete. So, like, don't bother. Honestly, save your breath. Because if you make an inflammatory conspiracy nuts comment, I will just delete that. I'm not here to foster that kind of community. Just nip that right in the bud. Terry ain't here for that. Look at the sweet boy. He just wants to have a nice time. And you know what? I support that for him. I am picking up a little bit of this brown whilst I wait for this to dry. I'm just going to gonna add a little bit of gray and just I just want like a slightly natural toned linen for Terry's tunic, which I always kind of just cast Terry's tunic as like, it's just undyed linen color, you know what I mean? So, get some undyed linen color in there for Terry's little tunic. I feel like it's going to be basically, you're not going to be able to tell it isn't white because it's so light, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. I can tell, and that's the important thing. Sometimes that's the important thing, is that I know the difference. Also, there was some pencil marking here that I probably should have erased better, but whatever. I will just fix it in post, because Also, this brush. I mean, this is... I'm working with a very tiny brush on a fairly wide area here, but this brush is dying, and I really need to get around to buying a new brush, but spending money is hard. I don't like to do it, so... I also don't have very much money, so, you know. Never mind. Anyways. Alright. Sweet. Okay. I've added tunic color. I would like to, while I still have purple on my brush, which I do, I would love to do like a second coat on this, this whatever pigments are making up this purple and blue combination are, oh, there's ultramarine in this, that's why. They're texturally more granular than like the green or the red. There's more texture in this purple. That's because there's ultramarine in it, and ultramarine is a very granulating pigment. If you don't know what I mean by granulating, let me show you. If you look at, like, it's a textural thing. It's a textural thing I really enjoy in paints, and you can see it quite a bit with, if you look at, like, the texture. There we go. Thank you for coming into focus. If you look at like the texture on this piece, there's a lot of texture to it, and that's because I've blended pigments together that granulate, which means that they separate out when you do a fairly wet wash with them, and you can get some really interesting like textural and color separation effects with it in that way. Same thing with some of this landscape. You can see like the sky. I didn't really do that much to the sky. It just kind of formed. That's the vibe. Anyways, that's a vibe I enjoy quite a lot. So you see a lot of texture in my watercolors, I think, because I tend to enjoy a lot of texture in my watercolors. But I'm gonna do a second wash on this purple just to darken it down a little bit, get some nice thickness to the color. At least I hope thickness. Hopefully I haven't just lifted it back up and actually not added it, because I didn't let it dry for too long. But never mind. It's a little bit blotchier than I would like. I was hoping for a smoother color, but that's what I get for not reading the fact that blue was ultramarine, which granulates and therefore wants to not sit as smoothly as a non-granulating pigment, which tends to sit more cleanly and flatly. Both are fine. Both are fine, of course, but yeah. Okay. For this bad boy, I think what I would like to do is maybe like a dark, somewhat bluish green for the cloaky bit, which is here. So I'm gonna take some of this teal and then add a little bit of this. See what that color looks like? Apparently I've barely used any of this teal, because the pan is like flat, whereas you can see which ones I've used a lot of the colors, because the pan is like, there's like a big sort of dip in the middle where all of the paint has been taken out of it. But this is quite a pigmented, bold teal, but it's also quite light, so I want to add some of the racing green to it to try and deepen it a little bit, so we get a nice contrast between the greens. So it's not I want a different temperature and value of color to this cloak versus Terry's skin tone, which is also green. I really need them to be, very different shades of green, basically. And that is, oh, that's rich. That's sumptuous. That's gorgeous. I love it. It's showing really dark on screen, but if you can see, that's just a really beautiful, it's a really beautiful Richard green, if I do say so myself. So yeah, happy with that. I don't think it needs a second pass. I think that's good. I think that's good just the way it is. Hooray! Huzzah! I think that means I'm ready to start doing like line weights and stuff on this, which is very exciting because I don't normally get stuff done in the space of a single stream. Unless I'm doing one of those like 31-day art prompt months, which I haven't done in quite a while. I haven't done one of those in a long time. I think the last one that I actually like completed was last year's Hollow Knight Art Month, which would have been May time. So yeah, it's been a while. I hope if Hollow Knight Art Month happens this year, I hope I remember how to do it. Because otherwise, oh no. But I hope this would read well as an emote. I don't know. But I'm gonna set this to one side to let the capey bit of it dry a little bit more. And actually the capey bit of this one is also kind of wet, but I can do some lines on other parts of it that are not wet. So maybe if I just, is that, oh yeah, that's bone dry. Okay. Line! Hooray! I'm gonna try and make these lines nice and like thick, which I don't normally like to do. And when I like years ago, pretty much all of my artwork, I would do all of my lines by just taking a fine liner and like outlining things in black. And then I stopped doing it for some reason, and I started doing lines like tonally, like my lines are the same color as the thing that I'm doing the outlines of, which I think is generally like a softer effect. So it's always weird to go back and do stuff not like that. Like if Terry was all just like black outlines, I feel like that would look really weird here, you know what I mean? Or like the mountains and the trees and stuff were all sort of outlined in black. It's a perfectly cromulent look, and I don't dislike it, but I'm just so not used to seeing it on my own artwork that it's like, oh, this is weird. My art looks weird, but remember, this is an emote, so we have different aims in terms of what we need from this artwork to what I would normally just do for myself or just in general or for a commission or anything like that. I did. Speaking of, unsurprisingly, I don't really do emote commissions. I do regular commissions, incidentally. They are the same link as my shop. I do regular art commissions. Not really super keen on doing emote commissions unless you're like for some reason desperate to have an emote that's my artwork, but I really don't think I don't think my artwork is super conducive to like emotes and stuff. I do try, but yeah, it's harder when you're hand painting them, I think. But also I think the thing about emotes is that they're tiny. But making one that looks good, as you can see, takes a lot of time, trial and error, and work. And I feel like obviously I don't know other people's business. I don't know how other people work. I don't know what other people's priorities are. But I have in the past seen people do like offer emote commissions for absurdly tiny amounts of money. Like be like, hey, I'll do an emote commission for you for like £5. And I'm like, I say this with the utmost love. You are underselling yourself and your skills so significantly, but it doesn't feel like you are because it feels like such a tiny little thing. But it's a tiny little thing that does take a reasonable amount of labor, and you are providing a labor service. But not just that. You're also providing a commercial artwork because the person who is like the recipient of your emote is using it for commercial purposes. Like, it's none of your business whether or not their commercialness is like, you know, like how you know, the like 5 cents a stream that they make in ad revenue, or if it's like, you know, they get like 1,000 subs a month. It's a commercial piece because they will be earning income from this thing. And I think that it is important as an artist to bear in mind that the rates for instance, like if someone comes to me and is like, I want to commission you to draw a picture and paint a picture of me and my girlfriend and our dog, I'm like, okay, cool. And I have a rate for that, right? Which is, I probably a bit of a lowball because, you know, I feel bad charging money for my labor. But still, you know, it's like, it's a not unreasonable, I think, small amount of money for someone who just wants like a little portrait for personal purposes, or someone who's like, I really, really, really want you to paint my 2 Blorbos tenderly holding hands, you know, from like an anime I've never heard of. Okay, cool. I would love to do that. You know what I mean? Or I would like to have a painting of me if I was, I don't know, what's a popular animal with furries? A hyena. And then, you know, I could do a little painting of a cute little hyena person wearing, I don't know, a ball gown or something, like whatever they're into. I don't care. But that commands a very different rate to someone coming to me and saying, I would like you to do an illustration for my forthcoming ad campaign for my business that I will be earning revenue from. I would like you to design the logo or mascot for my company that I will be getting income from. That is a very different amount of money because they're for very different purposes. And if someone is you know, if someone is using something that I've designed for commercial purposes, yeah, I will give you a rate, and I do have rates in mind, and they do slide a little bit depending on like, and I, you know, it's been a long time since I've done any artwork for like larger organizations, but if a larger organization approached me, you know, like things are priced accordingly, right? But because an emote is, you know, it is a commercial commission because you are using it for a venue where you are, you know, getting income. I don't feel like I can charge £5 for an emote. because it's a commercial commission. Ergo, it's a little bit, it's still, you know, like, I very much lowball if someone did approach me asking for an emote. I would still very much lowball. And I in the past, have had people approach me asking, would you design an emote for me? And I was like, okay, here's my rate. And, you know, it'd be subject to, like, a commercial sort of license agreement type thing, contract-y type deal. Because, again, it is it's a piece of commercial work. And they never got back to me. Or they're like, okay, I'll let you know when I have money. And I'm like, well, that's really nice, but I also know I'm never going to hear from you again. And that's okay. But I do think that, I do wonder if some artists don't consider the fact that, like, emotes and other stream assets are, not quite in the same strata as personal commissions. Just because of the fact that, you are drawing income from them. They are on a platform where you are monetized. That's the word I was reaching for and my brain couldn't remember, is monetization. You're monetized here. Therefore, it is different to just like, I want a picture of my dog. I'm going to sign this. The signature isn't going to appear in the, like, final thing, but I'm going to sign this. And you know what? I think that actually looks pretty darn cute. Oh, wait, I'm not done. I haven't did the lines for the cloak because it was still drying. Oh, beans. Okay, hold up. It wasn't done. Oh, I'm a silly sausage. I always forget to do one thing. In every piece of artwork, it's really important to me. This is a pro tip, by the way. In every piece of artwork, it's really important to me to forget to do at least one thing. So I then have to, especially if I've already posted it and I realize, oh, geez, there was a bit that I didn't shade, or I can see a bit that I genuinely just forgot to paint in and somehow didn't notice until it was too late, that kind of thing. Anyways, so that's actually done now. I hope you like it. This may or may not be an emote depending on how it looks when it's teeny tiny. Same goes for this bad boy. I don't know which of these two is going to end up looking better when they're done. I haven't the foggiest at this point. It could really go either way. Both of these might look absolutely horrific when they're small and just not end up going anywhere. I might just end up leaving them on my Discord and that's it. But I really I've wanted to refresh my emote, my stable of emotes for a while. So, why can't I see any of my emotes? Where did they go? I don't want to gigantify one of my own emotes, you ding-dong. This is my chat. Anyways. But yeah, like, I do have 2 emotes of Terry at the moment. And I just feel like, I like the one with the little cup of tea. I feel like the other one isn't quite optimized. And I wanted to give my emotes a little refresh for a while. So this is starting in on that, I guess. But yeah. Look at me, actually accomplishing the things that I've been saying I've been meaning to do for a while. Like, oh yeah, the YouTube video that is going up tomorrow. That's a big deal to me, okay? I know it is so there are people out there who post, like, more than 2 YouTube videos in a single week, which I think is wild. And sometimes I do wonder, like, how, like, do you really need to be doing that much? Like, are you okay? Do you rest? Because I know how much work goes into, like, how much time it took me to edit my stupid, tomorrow video. And it is a stupid video. My moderator / spouse has seen the video and can attest to the fact that it's a stupid video. Babe! Would you say my YouTube video for tomorrow is stupid? Oh, okay, never mind. He said no. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not stupid. Maybe it's great. I don't know. Anyways, I have a couple of other videos in a very longer, very vaguer pipeline. I have a video that I've been wanting to finish for a really, really long time that I have most of the script for. But it's been... There is this one secondary, primary-ish source that I really, really want to draw from for it. Or at least be able to read and see whether or not it is a useful source. But it's not anywhere online, and the book is from like the 1930s. And there's like one used copy that's available for sale, but man, I don't want to spend any more money. Because I especially don't want to spend money on this and have it turn... Like, I've tried like, it's not anywhere else. This stupid book. So frustrating. Because I do genuinely think it would be a useful resource potentially, but I might get it and have it turn out that actually this is completely useless. And should that turn out to be the case, well, I've wasted my money. But I'm kind of at an impasse if I don't have some means of accessing this text to see whether or not it's useful. But I just don't want to spend money on it and have it turn out that it's a dead end. You know what I mean? Like, that sucks. That feels bad. Wow. I have finished 2 artworks in a single stream, and we're not even 2 hours in. What is happening? What kind of crazy, like mirror universe have I ventured into? What timeline is this? This doesn't feel real. This never happens to me. Owl Quill says, "Yay! Hell yeah! Thank you." That also means, what the heck am I doing for the rest of the stream? I've got a couple things I could work on. I could start painting this version of myself. I haven't decided what colors it wants to be, but I feel like because this PNG tuber is a little too wintertime for now, I feel like maybe this should be a little bit more, I should be a little bit more spring in my step colored for this, but not entirely sure how to enact that. Heck. I don't know. Or I could just continue sketching this piece. I think I might continue sketching this piece because I feel like I know where I'm at with this, because I have a reference photo that I took when I was in the Copenhagen of this little area that I'm drawing in here. As thou canst see, they look exactly the same. So I think I might just work on just sketching in some windows and stuff, or maybe we'll just end early. I don't know. I feel like it's a little too early to end, maybe, but then on the other hand, my head hurts. So maybe I just will. I don't know. I don't normally, but on the other hand, genuinely my head kind of hurts. Okay, I'm gonna work on getting some windows into this, and when we get the ad warning, I'll decide whether or not I want to continue on for a little bit longer, shall we? Okay, I think that's what we'll do. So, I'm gonna bring up my reference if I can, so that I can see how many windows and stuff, and hopefully I don't get any embarrassing notifications. Not that I'm expecting any embarrassing notifications. Also, if my depiction isn't like 100% sort of screen accurate to what's happening in this photo, that's because this is the Copenhagen of the mind. You know what I mean? This is me extrapolating upon what's happening here and potentially letting my imagination stylize things out or make changes where I see fit. I mean, I feel like already this like the exact sizes and shapes of the building I haven't like perfectly captured. I feel like in real life this like both of these buildings are taller. I think I've made them a little bit too wide, but like I wasn't getting the ruler out for this because, like, whatever. Again, this is just a little fun little sketchy situation. Who cares? It's fine. It's fine. So to that end, here comes the hardest and most annoying part of any piece of artwork, which is trying to make the windows all the same size when you have to draw in windows. Yay! This is the best bit of drawing buildings. I hate this part. It's the worst. It's so annoying. These windows have eyebrows. That's how I'm gonna describe them. Oh no, that's terrible. Anyways, the angle is actually not that bad. You know, it's fine. Also, some of these angles are going to be real wiggity wonky, and I just have to force myself to not care about that at all. Otherwise, I will lose my G-dang mind, and we don't want that. So I'm going to not worry about it. I'm going to take a sip of my mint tea. I think I shall. And yeah, I've got a hankering. For, like, visiting a new locale, seeing some novel sights, visiting some streets and buildings and coffee shops that I've never been to before. And so, naturally, I have absolutely no freaking clue the next time I'm going to be able to do such a thing. I'm doing a family visit to the old country, which, if you don't know, for me is Canada, later this spring. But that's more dooting around my old stomping grounds than it is seeing anything exciting and new, you know what I mean? That's potentially seeing new things in as much as you're like, oh, wow, okay, so the supermarket that was there closed and now it's a Home Depot, like that kind of thing. Which I don't think is quite as exciting as visiting, like, entirely new locales. I quite fancy visiting Stockholm at some point, because I've never been to Stockholm. They have a public transit network, and you know I love myself a good public transit station. So I'd quite like to do that. I think what I might do, because I've definitely made these buildings shorter than their counterparts, I might actually compress each of these by, like, a floor. So we'll have this, and then a floor, and then, like, the ground floor, instead of the number of stories that there are. Because this one's got, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 floors. 6 floors, including the ground floor. This one's got 4. I think this one is going to need to be 3, and this one is going to need to be 5. Because I've definitely, looking at it now, I've definitely kind of squashed them compared to, I could have made them taller, but I don't really want to erase the rooftops and redraw them further up, because I just can't be bothered. Alquill says, Helsinki is fun. The main train station is a lovely brick building, and the airport plays birdsong in the toilets. Oh, that sounds so nice. That sounds so nice. That's so calm and gentle. Apart from if I trick myself into thinking that, oh no, there are birds that they could see me doing a wee, and that's embarrassing. Not that birds care. I've been shat on by pigeons on multiple occasions here in Oxford, so they don't care. But still, it's really weird when you don't expect it, says Alquil. I bet. Also, yeah, Helsinki seems fun. I would love to visit Helsinki at some point as well. It is a further away flight, and the further the one thing about visiting other cities is that I'm typically hamstrung by the number of days worth of hotel I want to pay for. Which means generally I'm not super keen on going anywhere that's more than like a 2-hour flight from like where I live. Yeah. Which does limit one a little bit, but also, man, it gets real expensive. Speaking of, so we were looking at we'll have to get a hotel for a few nights in Toronto when my moderator / spouse and I go visit Le Canada, and I was looking at I was looking at hotels in Trana, and I was looking in like January or February, and we're going to be there in May, and oh my god, I hate the way you have to like plan your life around specifically when you're planning to like just book, when you know that you're going to be in a place at a specific time, and you would like to book a hotel room, but the hotel rates change depending on how close or how far away from the time you book it. So I was looking at hotels, and I was like, why are these twice as expensive as they were the last time we were there 2 years ago around the same time of year? That doesn't make any sense, right? Because, like, I think we were there for 2 nights, and previously I'd spent about £200, which is, I feel like, you know, somewhere in the vicinity of £100 a night is expected large city hotel rates, frankly. But I was looking at it, and they were like twice that much. And so I decided to look up, okay, what's the most like optimized time in terms of like rates to book a hotel room? And the internet tells me it's like 2 weeks before you travel. And I'm just like, I don't like leaving things that late, because I get scared that what if everything ends up actually being even more expensive then, and I end up having to, like, I've already made my plans, so I have to go, and it's too expensive, and then I end up spending a bunch of money I don't have, and going into credit card debt, and I don't like that. Or, you know, I'm trying to book, like, a specific place, and it's completely sold out, because I waited too long. Like, it's so stressful. Especially compared to the fact that we booked the flights super early. We booked the flights back in, like, I don't know, like November or December, early January or something like that. And they were like quite, like, by comparison, cheap when we booked them. But then we have to wait a super long time to book the hotel. It's just like, But also we couldn't book our seats on the flight at the same time as we booked the flight, or it would have cost us like a stupid amount of extra money, so we haven't done that. So we're flying for 8 hours, but I don't know where we're gonna sit. It's just so stressful. I hate it. I just want to be able to plan and not feel like I'm being price gouged because I'm an anxious person. You know what I mean? It just sucks. It's like anxiety tax. I am a dislikes uncertainty autistic. Anyways, Al Quill says, a former colleague of mine did a year where once a month he'd do a weekend trip by plane to some city each month, booked short term. That sounds so fun, but also I just have to imagine that it's really expensive. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Anyways, that sounds really fun. I wish I could do that. Anyways, it's BRB time. We're going to go into a break. I'm going to come back and work on this a little bit longer, so please, sorry about the break. I'll be back very shortly. BRB, everybody. Okay, I realized you'd be able to hear me better if I unmuted, so I've unmuted now. Hello, welcome back. I'm going to get a couple more windows on this bad boy, and then I probably will call it fairly early. I do apologize for that. But yeah, to be honest, a headache has kind of set in, so I'm not feeling 100%, but, maybe, should I do like the bottom floor first? Perhaps, maybe a little bit. I think, so this one I'm gonna do, like, one set of, like, windows, and then, like, a little door and things here. Maybe the source material gives me, like, there's a door over on this side, and then there's another door over on this side. Maybe one of them leads up to sort of the flats upstairs, and one of them leads into the shop or cafe or whatever it is here. From the looks of it, in canon, it looks to be a children's clothing shop based on the very small garments in the windows. But we're gonna let this just be whatever it wants. Also, ooh, next door is actually a Thai restaurant. I didn't realize that. Taz, good March to you too. Welcome in, welcome. I'm just I finished some test emote designs. One of these might become an emote depending on how they look when they are in Smallland. Because I wasn't sure which shape configuration would look better, but I wanted some terry that's a little bit more robust in terms of a slightly more vibrant color so it stands out a bit better, and also some slightly thicker line weight so that, because whatever I think is extremely thick line weight ends up looking extremely thin when I size it all the way down to like 28 pixels. Ergo, you know, working on it. Anyways, I hope you're well. I hope you are having a wonderful Monday. I hope you had a good weekend as well. And it's very nice to see you. Welcome on in. I am going to pop this little... There's a little awning thing just above the shop window here, which I think actually does look really cute. So I'm going to add that into my depiction of this little shop. Anyways, hello Armory, welcome in. It's lovely to see you as well. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a lovely Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. Lovely to see you. Hope everyone's got good weeks coming up ahead as well. I have, as far as I'm aware, an exceedingly average week, which I am so fine with. I am so fine with an average weekend. At the moment, if I were to just stick like a nose here, I feel like this would just look like a guy with a really bushy mustache as a building. Kind of like that. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on, hold on. I did it! I'm so sorry. Okay, let's just... I will never be able to unsee that as part of this building. But I wanted to do a little guy's piece based on somewhere I've actually been. Reminds me of Shoetown somehow, says Alcol. Shoetown! Children's TV show vibes, says Tals. Yes, oh my goodness, yes. There was... I don't know Shoetown. Interesting. You've piqued my interest. Kids cartoon series, says Alcol. Yeah. It sounds so familiar, but it's not something that I can, like, conjure precisely. I do remember there was a children's show that I used to watch, but I think this is a very specifically Canadian one, where it was like a puppet character who was an anthropomorphic boot, and I believe his name was Bootsy. And I believe the show was Read Along, so it was like an educational show teaching kids to read. Hold on, I'm gonna need to hold. There's Bootsy. Here are the puppets of Read Along, and there's Bootsy. Was this a specifically Canadian show? I'm not actually sure. Yeah, a Canadian show produced in 1975 for TV Ontario. I remember it well. This was one of those shows that like lived sort of in the recesses of my brain for a really, really long time. And, like, I could remember kind of the theme tune, but not actually what it was. And then I eventually somehow put together that there was, like, a boot puppet. And I just looked up, like, Canadian children's show 1980s boot puppet. And it brought up Read Along. And I was like, yeah, Read Along. I think I remember that, says Tals. Looks familiar, at least. Hell yeah. The original English title was The Shoe People, says Alquil. Ooh. Because I know I'm not familiar with a shoe town, but I was familiar with a hatty town where all the people lived in hats. Also a very lovely little theme tune for that. But I can tell you right now, the theme tune to Read Along goes, put yourself in a book, enjoy the story inside, read along with us, read along and ride, because reading is a lot of fun and easy too, so join us here at Read Along. You and you and you and you and you. That's the theme tune from Read Along. I hope you enjoyed that musical interlude, and if you didn't, well, it's never going to happen again, so... I'm sorry it happened once. Anyways. I would have just found a YouTube video and played it, but I don't want to get copyright struck, which I doubt I would, because again, It's an Ontario-specific children's TV show from 1975, which probably aired in other regions, but I don't think most people remember particularly well. I have very precious memories of a lot of, like, quite obscure children's media. You know, I hear people being like, oh, remember this show, remember that show? I'm like, no, but you know what I do remember? The French-Canadian show Passepartout! Which no one but me remembers, apparently. Probably more francophones that I don't know remember Passepartout, but no English-speaking kids that I know remember Passepartout. But I had family who are francophones, so I did experience a larger proportion of French media as a youngin'. And now my français is how shall I say? Merde. Never mind. Pardon my language. Exclamation mark language at me. Because we're werewolves, not swearwolves. Anyways. I don't care. But yes. Ugh, okay. My throat is dying. Thank you very much, Tals, for the exclamation mark language. I deserve it. I really do. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Gonna get the... funky little building-y features in here. Because that is a shop window. Huzzah! We did the thing. And then above that, I'm just gonna pop 4... hopefully somewhat... No, I sized that really poorly. Katie, hello! Reading TV shows I remember. Reading Rainbow and Between the Lions. I never saw Between the Lions, but I did watch a Defunctland video about it. But I do remember Reading Rainbow very, very well. Oh, LeVar Burton. My boy. So I was watching Reading Rainbow at the same time that I was watching, except whatever werewolves is en français, loup-garou. Is that where? I don't know. I don't think I've ever encountered, werewolves in French, so hold. I'm looking it up. Because you might be right, actually. But yeah, I was watching Star Trek The Next Generation at the same time that I was watching Reading Rainbow. So I'd be like, oh my god, it's Geordi! It's my boy! Also, Geordi is one of my favorite, I think possibly my favorite, well done, you did it! Yay! Merci beaucoup pour le loup-garou. Anyways, there was a song about the loup-garou. Ah, delightful. Delightful. I hope it was a good song. It's what they deserve. I love a werewolf situation. I think they're neat. But yeah. Anywho, what was I saying? I'm sure I... What just... Oh, no. Well, my camera's dead. My PNG tuber helpfully is still working because it's not connected to the camera, but you can't see that I'm moving my hands around. Where the camera can see them, and you can't see. Loup-garou en London, or I guess it would be Londres, because I think it's Londres in French is London. Boop-de-boop, says Tals, yep, I heard Windows noises, says Armory. Yeah, that was me, I'm really sorry. Londres in it, says Armory. Yes, exactly. Let me, see if I can just, Oh, beans! What amazing timing. Hello, thank you so much.
Oh hell yeah, Sledge Callier just subscribed. 60 months.
60 months?
That's almost a year.
60 months? What the heck? Thank you so much, my dearest love. Thank you. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you for the sub. Enjoy ear emotes and stuff. My favorite. What just happened? Joe!
Oh hell yeah, Angels_Joe just subscribed. That's like half a year.
Well, I was gonna end stream, but we've got a hype train going, so I guess I'm not. 32 months, that's almost half a year. Thank you so much, Joe, for the Prime sub. I really appreciate that. It's incredibly kind and delightful and sweet. Katie says Windows makes booping noises. Stuff breaks. Yup. Well, hopefully we're back. Hopefully you can see my hands doing some little finger taps. This is a thing that, like, I don't know, content creators seem to do where they're like, oh, I want to show you I'm using this cup of tea in my new recipe, and they, like, tap their fingernails on it, and what it feels like to me is it feels like when you're trying to get a cat's attention. Like that is the level of, like, baby that it feels like this kind of content is for, that it's just like, you know, it's like I'm trying to get a cat to notice me. But they're like, I want to show you this moisturizer or something. I refuse to join, like, specific short form video apps because it just makes me so grumpy. But anyway, thank you for the hype train, friends. I appreciate it. I don't know what I've done to deserve it, but I really appreciate
Plap,
it.
plap, 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 plap.
Oh, beans. Thank you for the plap, plap, plap styles. Thank you. Hello to that little kiwi. Can I give him some scritches? Hi, I have some scritches. Scritches. Scritches for the little kiwi. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, some little pats. Just some little pats. Just some little pats. There we go. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Delightful. I think it's an ASMR thing, the finger tapping. Oh, maybe. Maybe it is. But sometimes they do it where there's no sound as well, which is weird. Anyways, I have 65.5 thousand internet points. What chaos can I cause? Please don't, Sunshine. My head hurts. Oh, heck. But anyways. What was I saying? I don't know anymore. I don't know. March is weird so far. I don't know about y'all, but I'm having a weird March so far. With that being said, apparently, for any Catholics in the chat, I believe it's St. Chad's Day, which, absolutely broke my brain to learn that, like, there's a St. Chad that dates back to, like, the 11th century. How, that doesn't seem, Chad seems like such a smartphone user's name, you know what I mean? Let me just double check and make sure that I'm correct about the placement of St. Chad's Day. Chad is actually an insanely old name, says Armory. Yeah, 2nd of March is the feast day of St. Chad. Chad of Mercia, who, let me just, died on the, okay, so I was wrong about the timing of St. Chad. St. Chad was a prominent 7th century Anglo-Saxon monk. He was an abbot, bishop of the Northumbrians, and bishop of the Mercians and Lindsey people. And he became a saint after his death. Chad! Chad sounds like the name of, like, you know, like a kid I was at primary school with, who's, like, a middle-aged man now. But, like, a middle-aged man, not a man from the Middle Ages. Katie is like, what? And this is how y'all find out I wasn't raised Catholic. I was not raised anything religiously, which might be why I was, like, today years old that I learned about St. Chad. That Saint, what a Chad! Chad is a country in Africa too, says Alquil. Yeah, exactly. I think the etymologies are probably different. But that is true. But just, like, I would not have guessed that Chad as a name, like, dates back that far at all. Armory says it's surprising, right? Some names that sound so modern are like, this name was made famous by Sir Chadwick of Bimblebomble. Doesn't Chad in Africa also mean lake? I don't know what language it's from, but we can look it up. Because why not? We can do whatever we feel like. The Republic of Chad in Central Africa. Indeed. It's exactly where I thought it was. But will this give me the etymology of the name of the country? It might. There is a Lake Chad, which may well be Lake. We'll find out. Time to watch these and wrap up my day. Thanks for the stream, says Al. Cool. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and thank you again for the hype train, friends. I appreciate it. But, yes. Yeah, it's near Libya and also Sudan. Nifty. Just tell me where the name comes from. No, I'm not reading this entire article out. My head hurts. But there is indeed a Lake Chad, and I did know that there was a Lake Chad as well. But yeah, I don't know. Chad is like a man's name. On the other hand, really does just make me think of like a dude who, you know, who saw the 1980s, but as a child. But yeah, Katie says, I think Lake Chad and River Avon have some things in common. Oh, I see. The country of Chad is named after Lake Chad, which lies on its western border. Yep. The name derives from the Kanuri word, thad, or thad, which means large body of water or lake. So it is indeed a lake. We love to see it. We loved it. There's a lot of those out there in the world. Famously, or perhaps not famously outside of Canada, the country of Canada, and where the name Canada comes from, is in, I think, roughly the kind of near what is now like the capital region, so the greater Ottawa area ish. I can't remember which white colonist explorer guy was speaking to some, you know, like First Nations people who just, you know, lived there. And obviously there's a linguistic barrier because they are speaking their native indigenous language, and he's speaking whatever European gubbins is, French maybe. I think probably French at this point, but don't quote me on that because, you know, anyways. They say something like blah 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 Canada, which refers to like the village that they are approaching, and the guy misinterprets it as, oh, that must be the name of this land, Canada, let's call it Canada, and so it became Canada, when in fact it refers to like it just basically means village. I remember the Heritage Minute about this story, says Tells. Yes, the Heritage Minute about it is so funny. Because like the major like expedition explorer guy's like assistant, or like his second in command or whatever, is like, sir, I think he's just referring to that village there, and he's like, no, that must be the name of this land, Canada, we shall call it Canada. And he's like, no, I'm pretty sure that's the name of the village. And he's like, oh, don't be ridiculous. And the First Nations fellow is like, yeah, Canada, like pointing at the village. Jacques Cartier, thank you. His name had completely escaped me, but I did spend a lot of time at school learning about Jacques Cartier and his exploratory gubbins of being white guy, didn't discover squat, obviously, because there were already people here. That's how you have a First Nations, is that there were already people here. You didn't discover shit. It was already there. Anyway. What's my point? Sorry, being salty about about European colonizers, I guess. You know, despite being also like extremely white. But, you know, I can, listen, if I can't make fun of my Canadian resident predecessors, then what even are we doing here? Anyways, but yeah, thank you for the reminder, Charles. Jacques Cartier, gave us kind of the name Canada. I feel terrible for the white dude trying to clarify on behalf of the First Nations folks to his boss. Yeah. I think this may have been like a dramatic extrapolation for the purposes of the Heritage Minute, as opposed to something that like we know canonically happened, because I seriously doubt that Cartier was like, yeah, my dumb assistant thought that Kanata was just the name of the village, but I know it's actually this whole country's name. I don't think he would have written that down somehow, but we can for dramatic purposes we can imagine. And also I think it's funny. Anyways, on that bombshell, I think I've waffled on long enough, and my head hurts, and so I'm gonna let you guys look at what one of these might become an emote. So watch this space. I'm gonna scan them in this evening and see how they look sized down, and I'll probably pop an update about it in the Discord depending on how we get on. But with that being said, if one of these looks good as an emote, we'll have a new emote and you'll see it on the next stream. And also I'll figure out what the heck art I'm doing for next stream as well, because I didn't do a very good job of it this time. But hey, we got some art out of it, and I finished technically 2 pieces, so that's kind of cool. Nice art, says Aubrey. Thank you very much. I tried my best. I'm going to raid out now because my head hurts. So I hope that's okay. And we'll see who's around, who's available, who's doing stuff, who we can go say hello to. Maybe someone we haven't said hello to in a little while. I don't know. But yes, it's been nice hanging out with all of you. Yeah. Okay, wizard. Gonna go do the thing. Gonna see if this person is gonna see whether or not the person I'm about to raid is actually just about to end, because that would be silly. So, so let me just double check first. But, thank you again for hanging out. I will be back on Thursday. And, I'll pop a generic raid message in the chat. No, or a generic raid message, not a generic round message. There we go. Okay. And, thank you for hanging out with me, even though it's weird. I feel like this is a weird stream, but, I had a nice time. I hope you had a nice time, too. There's a generic raid message in the chat. I should probably actually start the raid. I really hope they're not just about to finish. They look like they're working on some stuff, so we're gonna get in there. We're gonna do the thing, and then I'm gonna leave. Okay. Thank you so much for hanging out again. I do appreciate it. Take care, everyone. Where's the thanks for watching screen? There's the thanks for watching screen. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good rest of your everything. Have a good week. I shall see you very, very soon, I hope. But regardless, take care. Good night and good luck.